This just happened, and it's already dominating every conversation among fans in Detroit. The Detroit Lions have just faced a situation that could completely change the course of their season, and it's no exaggeration to say this news took everyone by surprise. Starting left tackle Taylor Decker is out with a shoulder injury, and the impact could be much greater than it first appears. As the team celebrates an impressive fourth consecutive victory, a shadow of concern begins to hang over the offensive line. Decker's absence left a critical gap in Jared Goff's protection, and his immediate replacement, Giovanni Manu, simply couldn't live up to the responsibility. The performance was so concerning that head coach Dan Campbell himself used the term shaky to describe it, which, let's face it, was a polite way of saying it wasn't good. But before we dive into what's happening inside the locker room, like the video and subscribe to the channel because things are heating up in Detroit and important changes could be coming in the coming days that will directly impact the team's future. Now, back to the point. Goff's invisible side protection, which is vital to the offensive success, has been seriously compromised. Manu struggled to handle the pressure, lost direct duels, and on several occasions exposed the quarterback to unnecessary risks. On a team that has finally found rhythm, stability, and offensive confidence, this type of vulnerability is what worries the coaching staff the most. Dan Campbell didn't hide his dissatisfaction and hinted at the possibility of immediate changes if Decker remains out. According to him, the coaching staff is exploring alternatives that include Dan Skipper and Devin Cochran, two names who have already rotated within the offensive line but have yet to establish themselves as starters. "We'll see how Decker is doing. That's always our first option," Campbell said. "But I don't want to put him on the field for just a few games if it means he won't be available at the end of the season." This statement makes it clear that Detroit is prioritizing the long term, even if it means facing a difficult few weeks. The question is, can the team afford to play without its most experienced defender, just as the team is emerging as one of the NFC's most consistent forces? Decker's injury drama has been dragging on since the start of the season. Campbell revealed that the left tackle has been battling shoulder pain for weeks, but the problem has worsened with each game. In the first 4 games, he played through the ringer, and the result was progressive wear and tear that, according to the coach, was no longer sustainable. "Every week, the recovery has been slower and slower," Campbell explained. "The results are decreasing, and we felt we needed to give this guy some time. I don't know for how long, but it's to get him back on track. We need to give his shoulder strength so he feels good." This pause, while necessary, opens a massive tactical hole in the offensive system. The Lions line had been one of the most solid in the league, providing Goff with time and security to distribute the ball, and any misalignment in this balance could directly affect the offense's rhythm. Meanwhile, the coaching staff is looking for creative solutions to minimize the damage. One possibility being discussed is changing the offense's structure, with more quick passes and formations that favor double protection. This is an attempt to mask Decker's absence until he's fully recovered. However, the schedule isn't helping. Their next challenge is against the powerful Kansas City Chiefs, a team known for their aggressive defense and ability to pressure the quarterback intensely. If the Lions want to continue their winning streak, they'll need to find quick answers. And amid all this tension, some good news has emerged that has brought some relief to the fans. Rookie Isaac TeSlaa, who had been a low-key player until now, finally had his moment in the spotlight. Against the Bengals, he seized a rare opportunity after Khalif Raymond's frightening injury, who left the game with a neck injury. TeSlaa performed well in the blocking role for most of the game, but it was in the final stretch that he truly shined, scoring a touchdown that sealed the victory. And the most interesting part? This time, he made a normal catch with both hands, something that became an inside joke even among his teammates, as the player became known for his acrobatic and nearly impossible receptions. TeSlaa's touchdown was not only symbolic, but also strategic. It came at a crucial moment when the Bengals were threatening to rally and showed that the rookie can be more than just a supporting player in special formations. The Lions media team even joked on social media, highlighting TeSlaa's rare, normal catch. But more than humor, this play revealed something important. The youngster is ready to contribute more consistently. And, depending on Raymond's recovery, TeSlaa could be a key player as early as next week, assuming the role of W3R, the one responsible for keeping the chains moving on short, safe routes. Now the atmosphere is one of full expectation. Detroit has shown maturity, but Decker's absence could test this team's limits. The team is on a winning streak that's thrilling fans and commanding respect across the league. But the real challenge is just beginning. How deep is the roster? How capable is the group of players to adapt without their offensive linemen? These answers will come in the coming weeks, and depending on them, the Lions could prove they're truly contenders for something bigger this season. And I want to hear from you, fan. Do you think the Detroit Lions should hold on to Taylor Decker until he's 100% healthy or risk his return to maintain their winning streak? Leave your opinion in the comments because this decision could determine the fate of the Detroit season.
The Detroit Lions have just become the center of a story that's catching fire across the NFL. League sources confirm that a new trade partner may be emerging, and this could mean a strategic move that would completely change the fate of the season in Detroit. Speculation is already buzzing behind the scenes that general manager Brad Holmes may finally be ready to act and strengthen the position that fans are most concerned about, edge rusher, the missing piece to transform this defense into a truly dominant one. But before revealing the names on the table and the stakes of this potentially explosive trade, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because what comes next could be the smartest or boldest move the Lions have made since the beginning of the Dan Campbell era. It all started when Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football released a piece of information that put the New Orleans Saints in the spotlight. According to him, the franchise, which is experiencing a disastrous start to the season with a 1-5 record, would be open to listening to trade offers for some of its veterans as the NFL's trade window quickly approaches. The insider stated that several teams across the league are monitoring the situation, eager to see who the Saints will make available in the coming weeks. And that's when Detroit's name began to circulate behind the scenes as one of the most interested potential buyers. The reason is simple. The Lions have a solid defense, but they lack that dominant pass rusher capable of deciding games in the most critical moments. The team has been achieving consistent victories, but the quarterback pressure area remains a weak point, and this has been evident in recent games. The front office knows that if it wants to dream big, especially with a potential Super Bowl, it needs to act now while there's still time. And the Saints, with their roster packed with talent, may be exactly the ideal trade partner for that. According to rumors, 3 Saints edge rushers are generating immediate interest: Carl Granderson, Chase Young, and Cameron Jordan, all with different profiles and contractual situations, but each offering a distinct type of impact in Detroit. This is where the story starts to get interesting, and the potential for a move grows even more. Starting with Chase Young, the name that draws the most attention among casual fans. A former first-round pick, Young still carries the weight of superstar expectations. But the reality is that his time in Washington and now in New Orleans has been marked by inconsistency and questions about his commitment. While his physical talent is undeniable, there are doubts about whether he would fit into the demanding and disciplined culture that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are building in Detroit. That's why, despite the excitement of some fans, Young is the least likely to be the actual target. The second name is Carl Granderson, and here there is legitimate reason for excitement. At 28, he's enjoying the best moment of his career, with 4.5 sacks this season, which places him among the top 7 in the NFL in that regard. Granderson has not only been producing at a high level, but he's also under contract through 2027, meaning he wouldn't just be a temporary signing, but a long-term asset to solidify the Lions' defense. He combines youth, productivity, and contract stability, exactly the kind of profile Holmes values. The big question is, would the Saints really be willing to part with a player like that, knowing he's still young enough to participate in a potential rebuild in New Orleans? And then we come to the most significant name of all, Cameron Jordan. The 8-time Pro Bowler may no longer be at his physical peak, but he remains a respected force in the league, with 2.5 sacks already this season and a natural leadership talent that would transform the locker room in Detroit. Jordan would bring not only talent but also presence, something that would help mold the Lions' young defenders and raise the standard of the group. Furthermore, his contract expires in 2026, making him a strategic addition in the short to medium term without compromising the financial future of the franchise, which is expected to face salary caps in the coming years. The only catch? Jordan's contract has 4 years of vesting attached, which could complicate the logistics of a trade and make it financially difficult, even if the technical and emotional fit seems perfect. Behind the scenes, the general perception is that Jordan would be the most likely target if the Lions do decide to act before the trade deadline. He represents experience, leadership, and still offers solid production even in the final stretch of his career. Sources close to the team believe Holmes is monitoring the situation closely. But there's also caution. The general manager has avoided rash moves and has demonstrated confidence in the team's internal development. Still, the weight of expectation and the window of opportunity for a Super Bowl run could push Detroit toward a more aggressive decision than usual. On the other hand, there's also a scenario in which nothing happens, and this is precisely the part that worries fans. The team has been conservative in its moves, even with clear evidence that it lacks depth on the defensive line. If the Lions pass up this opportunity, they risk seeing the market close and being exposed at crucial moments in the season. One wrong move now could mean the difference between a Super Bowl appearance or elimination from the playoffs once again. The fact is, Detroit is at a turning point. The team is competitive, has one of the most consistent offenses in the NFC, but urgently needs an impactful pass rushing reinforcement to turn its potential into reality. And with the Saints open to negotiations, this may be the best and perhaps last real chance to add a difference maker. Now I want to hear from you, fan. If you were Brad Holmes, would you risk it all on Cameron Jordan or play it safe by betting on Granderson for the future? Leave your opinion in the comments, and if you want to stay up to date with all the Lions' moves, like and hit the bell now, because the next few weeks promise to be the most exciting of the season in Detroit.